in Brownsburg, Indiana, just west of Indianapolis, across the street from the giant of Don Schumacher Racing, and in the back of a series of gray buildings, you're going to find the little shop of Lex June Racing. Let's go in and chat with and see what the Flying Dutchman is working with next on Monday Morning Racer. So, Monday Morning Racer here in the Lex June Racing Shop. Got Lex in front of us. Lex, look, tell me about this particular arrangement you've got with this shop, where you're at, why you are in Brownsburg, Indiana.
Well, Brownsburg, Indiana, you already gave it away, right? So, well, there are a couple of reasons to be here. The weather is great during the summer and in the winter. Now, the reason is that a lot of the big teams are situated here, so that's easier for us because it's sometimes you can just walk to the other side of the street. There's Don Schumacher Racing or John Force Racing or Petrogon is here. All the big teams are here. So what happens is a lot of industry will come here as well. Like Morgan Lucas is making chassis. You know, there are manufacturers here. So access on parts, it's good. The main reason why the teams are here and at the end of the day we are here is a lot of the races on the NHRA schedule, you can go there traveling within a day. So that will save you a lot on hotels and everything else. Plus, you know, fuel cost and everything that comes with it. That's why basically the big teams started here in Brownsburg. Indianapolis, race capital of the world, part of it, but the main thing is traveling. The traveling part of it makes it like this is where we want to go.
Awesome. So, you know, your shop is on the back side across the street from Don Schumacher Racing. Tell me about the square footage of this shop you've got and what it's been like working in and out of it, and maybe some aspirations that you have for another shop, or is this it? Is this good enough?
It's good enough. It's 1,000 feet, so it's not really big, but the race car fits in here. We got enough room to get our parts and everything situated. There's a heater in here, so you know, it's all here. We got a small office, so if we need to talk business, we can do it. The rent is not really like you know. It's doable. Gert and I just basically started here and we did it from our paychecks, and we still do. Sure, we got some deals going now. We got partners coming on board, which is awesome. We say every dollar helps, but you know, you only can do it, like I always say, you need to keep the string alive. If it's gonna break because you cannot pay your rent anymore, or you cannot pay your parts, or you cannot pay the nitro or whatever, then it's over. And we are not the type of team that are just here to do a couple of races. At the end of the day, we are here to do every race in the schedule. So, like what happened this year, we did 12 races. Beginning of the year, going to the Gator Nationals, we didn't know how many races we would do. It's just, you know, we start here and then let's see how many we can do. We did 4 in a row. That's something I wanted to do, you know. I at least want to have something on my bucket list. I want to do it, so we did it. So we ended up with 12 races. You only can do it when you don't have to spend a huge amount of money on rent. Because rent, yeah, you know, we need to have a place to put it, but that's it. So that's why it's only 1,000 feet, but it's great. It's good enough for us. It's doing everything it needs to do. Sure, I would love to have the trailer inside for more than one reason, but it's sitting outside now, and okay, you know. It's cold outside. We need to get all our stuff and parts out of it because A, you don't want to run up and down all the time, and B, you know, it's safe and okay here. Yeah, it is what it is. But you know what? When we go back racing in a couple of months or maybe a couple of weeks, whatever, you know, it doesn't really matter because the race car is on the racetrack, and when it's on the racetrack, it doesn't know anything about a shop or a trailer. It's about making the run, get the car qualified, and go rounds.
Definitely. Now, speaking of the race car, tell me about your particular Top Fuel dragster. What year is it? Who's the chassis builder? Also, looking forward to 2020, and I've regularly see you posting on social media. What are some of the hopes and dreams with this car and its combination for 2020?
Well, it's basically a 1999 McKinney. So it's an older car. It's basically 20 years old. What happens, and most people know this, it's only an X amount of runs you put on a front half, and then X amount of runs you put on a back half, and then it's going to be replaced. So the front half is done early last year, so that's almost brand new. The back half is done not so long ago, so basically this part of the race car is 99. But that's how things work. It's a 99 and it's a McKinney. I must say, with the new front half on it, it's working really nice. The traction is there, the car is reacting, it's steering, it's doing basically everything a car needs to do. So for that, I'm really happy with what we got going right now. Halfway this season, we changed the whole engine program. We changed the clutch, we changed the supercharger, we changed the fuel pump. Basically, we started all over again, which, you know, basically this car can run 370s without any issue. But saying that, it had an issue the last time we ran it in Charlotte. It broke an idler gear in the engine. So what that did is, between the crankshaft and the camshaft there is a gear that connects the whole deal together, and that gear broke. So what happened then is the camshaft stops running, it's got out of time, so it blew the whole engine apart. And yeah, for us type of teams, that's pretty devastating, because, you know, a bill of $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 to repair the whole thing, it's a lot. So, but you know, it's live and learn. The potential of this car, it can be qualified every race we go, and it can go rounds. And depending a little bit on circumstances, yeah, sure, if you got the same deal what we had here in Indy this year, where, you know, no matter what you do, you cannot go wrong as long as you put enough in it, then yeah, you know, it might be. But then still, because I don't want to break anything, but we can run, I believe this car can run in given conditions, high 370s the whole day, and I believe you can qualify in every race, and then see what we can do. Funding is an important thing, but even, you know, with the deals we got going right now, I know we can have a lot of fun.
So when you're in the Lex June Racing Shop, you're going to see a lot of photos of the cars that he's driven in the past. And a lot of people, Lex, might not know, and I want to give the opportunity. You're a champion, you're a winner in other parts of the world, and now you're attempting to do it here in NHRA drag racing in the States. So give me a rundown of what you have accomplished and where you've been. And I know Gerda just mentioned you've been on stage with some other famous names in the world of motorsports, so clue us in.
Well, people know about Monaco, right? If you run in Europe, like in Top Fuel, you run under the FIA banner, which is also Formula 1. So when we won a championship in 05, we had to go to Monaco to pick up our hardware. And there you are, you know, in the middle of F1 champions and everybody that's taking part of an FIA championship. So yeah, that's what we've done. We set records in most places, most racetracks. You know, we've set records. We basically won on every racetrack there is. So for that, yeah, we did a lot. And for me, it started in the 80s with a Camaro. I just found that at a farmer's place, he didn't do anything with it. 68 Camaro. It had a 6-cylinder long block in it, and the first thing I did is took the block out, put a V8 in it, a big block, and we start racing. And there was no drag racing in the Netherlands. There was only some bikes that did some racing, and once a year they were drag racing. So we asked with a couple of friends, can we compete with you guys? Yeah, sure. So that's how we started. And at a certain point I saw funny cars and I thought that's really cool, and I was working towards the fact that at a certain point for sure I was able to buy an alcohol funny car and start running a funny car. The guy I bought it from had no clue how things work, so you had to figure it out yourself. No computers, nothing, but we got it done. And you know, you go from there, and at a certain point yeah, you got an opportunity to buy a fuel funny car, and that's what we did. And that's what almost killed me, because yeah, you know, I love Europe, but safety wise, running a funny car, fuel funny car, that didn't really work out. We had a fire, it was pretty bad, lost the car, almost lost my life. So Curtis said, that's not going to happen again. And well, the biggest thing is that from a business point of view, it was really hard to find sponsors for fuel funny cars, because it was not an FIA approved series. So that's how we ended up in a top fuel, and I'm not really a dragster guy, to be honest. And I hope one day I'm able to start running fuel funny cars again. But right now, with the budget we have, it's smarter to run a dragster, because you know, when you blow a body off a funny car, it's a lot of money. I'm not really concerned about safety, because the safety safari, or they are awesome. I believe they will get you out of anything and everything. So, but it's more from a business point of view. And you know, the other fact is it gives me a lot of time to learn everything about nitro, tuning cars, and everything I need to know. But yeah, you know, for me, my career in drag racing started, I think, in '86 or '87. So I'm doing this for a couple of years and pretty successful.
Definitely been around the block.
Yep.
Now, Gerda, what about yourself? How did you get bit by this drag racing bug and get involved with all this?
Well, we had a small local airfield in the town where I grew up, and a friend of mine was working at that racetrack, because they converted that airfield to a drag strip once a year at that time, and they needed people to sell tickets at the gate. So I started selling tickets at the gate. I had no idea what was going on at the strip itself. Then after that I started doing racing secretary. I made sure all the invitations were done, and I got the people all the tickets, and I was just fascinated by A, the noise that it makes, and B, the speed that it has. And at a certain point they invited me, a race team invited me to go with them to Hockenheim, because that was the biggest event of the season, and that's where I ran into him.
And it's history making ever since.
Well,
and you're still regularly tuning and wrenching on this car. You play an active part in the weekend. Would you give a rundown of what your roles are with the team?
Well, the shortcut is I do everything except drive the car. I wrench on the car. I make sure I do a lot in preparations already here in the shop and at home, and make sure all the paperwork gets done, make sure the trailer is ready to go, make sure the parts are all in there. In the race weekend itself, I help now with our consultant Lance Larson in our race team. I am next to him writing down all the numbers, what goes into the race car, talk about tune-ups. During the service I'll do the rods, pistons, I check the lifters, they do the data on the computers. If there's changes to be made, we'll make them, whether Lance does it or I do it. So it's a lot of numbers, and I'm really a numbers person. I love numbers. At the start line I fire up the race car, set the idle, do all that stuff. So yeah, there's a lot going on. I always say a race weekend is like a roller coaster. You get into it and the roller coaster doesn't stop until Monday night when you're back home.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Now, back home is the Netherlands, correct?
Yes.
No.
No,
No?
home is here.
Back home is here.
Back home is here.
Yes, we were born in the Netherlands. This
Born
is
in the
home.
Netherlands, home's here now.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm curious, that transition from Europe to America, first, what here in the States have you come to love as far as food? What about American food culture have you just come to love and you wish you always had it throughout your whole life?
Apple pie.
Apple pie.
Apple pie.
And-
I love apple pie, especially when it's a little warm. And tacos.
Tacos.
And what about wings?
Yeah, oh, wings. I love wings.
That's a good combination.
With barbecue sauce.
That's a good combination. Wings, apple pie, and tacos.
Yep.
That's about as good as it can get.
You can wake me up for that anytime.
Definitely. So what is it that you miss from the Netherlands, from Europe, that you can't acquire here in the States?
I miss the big lumps of cheese that we have in the Netherlands. Some food, but that's more like spices. And what I do a lot is the stuff that I really miss. I Google a recipe on the internet. I found a Dutch store in Michigan where I can order spices and condiments, and I'll just make the recipe myself.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah. So, 2020, just around the corner, and I know you still got strutmasters.com on board. We're going to be playing a big part.
Yes.
You also you're looking for other people to come on board. So, folks, if you're looking for a top fuel team to be a part of, Lex June's your man. Anything else that you might want to share with us concerning 2020 and who you might have possibly coming on board, or what you can offer for someone to come on that they might jump on board and help you out through the year?
Well, you know, with Strutmasters on board, that's pretty cool. But you know, it's basically an associated sponsor, so he will give us an opportunity to go to an X amount of races. But at the end of the day, we want to do them all. And you know, if you look at my career, I'm here to again run for a championship. I've been a champion in everything I did. Now I know I'm always raising the bar, and to come here is basically as high as it can be. There's no other championship in the world that is as strong, as good as NHRA drag racing. So, and I'm not saying I need the money those big teams are looking for, but at the end of the day, there needs to be an X amount to make it happen, because those cars, a lot of people say they run on money, and that's for sure, you know. An average run without breaking parts, it's $4,000 or $5,000. Well, we are basically still running from a paycheck. Sure, with help from Chip Lofton, Strutmasters is awesome, and we are talking to some other potential people that want to come on board. But at the end of the day, yeah, you know, if we really want to do this, then we need to have more partners, as we call it. We don't talk about sponsors, we talk about partners, because at the end of the day, if companies start to invest in us, we need to give back. It's about the return on their investment. So, you know, we dedicated basically the rest of our life to do this. We came here, as we just said, this is our home now. We won't go back anymore. So if people start investing in us, if companies start investing in us, they don't have to be afraid we go back, because
We won't.
we won't. Even if we won't race anymore, if they ban Nitro tomorrow, we still will be here and do other stuff, because you know what, this is the greatest country in the world. Even before we had an opportunity to come here, we always talked about America, because that's who we are. So if there are companies out there that want to give us an opportunity to work together, we will give them more than they ever dreamt of that would be possible. But it needs to happen, so we plug away on it, and we have a plan that to at least run between 12 and 15 races in 2020, and hopefully more. And hey, you know what, if we can sign the deal tomorrow, we will run them all 24, and we're going to make the countdown, that's for sure.
And I think one of our strengths is because we raced in Europe, we always had to get our parts from the US. It's not that you can buy Nitro parts over there. So we always had to make a lot out of nothing, because we only had so much availability. If you need rear tires, we would order a set of rear tires. We could not pick or choose what size. We just had to deal with what was sent to us, which 9 out of 10 were the leftovers from the NHRA. The tires became double the price because the shipping was ridiculous. So we took care of our tires. We took care of all our parts. I had a crank at a certain point in my car that had 43 runs on it. And right. I wish I could challenge one of the NHRA team to swap one weekend with us. See if they want to race the way we race, and then see what they think. I think if you would ask man to man, would you do it the way they are doing it, that 99% would say no. And I think that's a big opportunity for a company, because we represent, we are racing. We will move heaven and earth to give that company what they were looking for.
And that's where the never quit attitude comes from. We won't give up.
No.
We will get it done. And you know, sometimes you really look at yourself or in the mirror, you think, really, do I really want to do this? Yes. That needs to happen. Yeah.
Well, there it is, the hard yes and the never quit attitude, as you've got stickered and placard on your race team that you're never going to quit. You're going to keep chasing this dream. And I hope the dream comes true. And I hope in a couple of years I'm back here and it's a bigger shop and we're filming this again. And we've seen a great successful story and keep adding to it. So Lex, Gerda, thank you for your time and the best to you in 2020.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity. Thank you. And I know the fans will love this, so thank you.
Thank you for everything you do. I love your videos. That is heart and soul right there.